Good morning, students of class 5. Students, I'm sure all of you are happy and healthy. Students, please take out your Wordsworth English Reader book and turn to page number 87 as I'll be continuing with lesson 9, The Priceless Slippers. Students, please take out your Wordsworth English Reader book, turn to page number 87 and also take out your English notebooks as I'll be continuing with lesson 9, The Priceless Slippers. Students, in my last video, I had started lesson 9, The Priceless Slippers, and before the lesson, I had started explaining and writing the word meanings of lesson 9, The Priceless Slippers. And I had explained and written the 25 new words along with their meanings. So, and students, today I'm going to start with the meaning of phrases of this lesson. First of all, I'm going to revise the word meanings for you, and then I'll be writing the meaning of phrases. And after completing the meaning of phrases, I'll be reading and explaining the lesson 9, The Priceless Slippers. So the word meanings of lesson 9. The first one, mystics, a person who attempts to be united with God through prayers. है ना बेटा, वो संत जो भगवान के साथ जुड़ जाता है अपनी prayers से. Second, Sufi saint, a person belonging to a specific group and who leads a simple life without any comfort or luxuries. है ना, जिसको हम कहते हैं ना पीर फकीर, बेटा दैट. The third word is austerity. Austerity means living without comforts, luxuries or decorations. है ना, कोई भी जो बिना ऐशो आराम के साधन के रहता हो, that is austerity. The fourth one is divine. Divine means holy. The fifth word is desperation. Desperation, hopelessness. The sixth word is afford. Afford means didn't have any money to pay for. The seventh word is recounted, which means told again. The eighth word is woes. Woes means worries or troubles. The ninth word is attired. Attired means dressed. The 10th word is assured, which means promised. The 11th word is adamant. Adamant means refusing to be persuaded to change one's mind. अपने जिद पे अड़े रहना. 12th, patiently, that is calmly and quietly. 13th word is summon. Summon means to call, बुलावा आना, जिसको कहते हैं. 14th word is impatient, and impatient means irritable. यहाँ पे बेसब्र जिसको बोलते हैं बेटा. 15th word is worn out, which means used and almost torn. है ना, घिसी और फटी हुई, that is worn out. 16th word is galloping. Galloping, moving at a very fast pace, the speed of a horse. Pace means speed, है ना, तो speed of a horse के जैसे move करने को बेटा galloping बोलते हैं. The 17th word is stammered. Stammered, speaking with sudden unwanted pauses, usually out of nervousness. घबराहट के कारण अटक अटक के रुक रुक के बोलने को बेटा stammered बोलते हैं. The 18th word is reverently, which means respectfully, पूरे आदर और सम्मान के साथ. The 19th word is robes. Robes means coat. 20th word is astounded. Astounded means shocked or greatly surprised. The 21st word is readily. Readily means immediately. Turant. Readily, immediately. The 22nd word is devote, and devote comes from the word devoted. The 24th word is humility. Humility means humbleness. The 24th word is disciple. Disciple means student, shishya. And the last word, 25th word is inventor, which means creator. Now students, I'm going to explain the meaning of phrases. Please write this in your English notebook. Meaning of phrases. The first one, set off, which means started his journey. Set off means started his journey, है ना. अपने सफर की या यात्रा की शुरुआत करने को क्या बोलते हैं बेटा? सेट ऑफ. दैट मीन्स स्टार्टेड हिज जर्नी. सेट ऑफ स्टार्टेड हिज जर्नी. Then the second word is phrase. Sorry, the second phrase is to part with, है ना. अपना कोई सामान दे देना. That means अपना कोई सामान दे देना. To part with means to give their, है ना. अपना कोई सामान दे देना. To give their, to part with, to give their, अपना कोई सामान दे देना. Then the third word is not going to bear fruit. Not going to bear fruit means not going to give any favorable results. Not going to bear fruit means not going to give any favorable results. कि मतलब आपके फेवर में कोई भी रिजल्ट ना आना, है ना. हम किसी चीज की उम्मीद किए कि हाँ ऐसा हो जाएगा, लेकिन जब वो ऐसा नहीं होगा, आपके फेवर में रिजल्ट नहीं आएगा, तो दैट मीन्स नॉट गोइंग टू बेयर फ्रूट. सो the first one is set off. Set off means started his journey. अपनी सफर की यात्रा की शुरुआत करना. The second word is to part with, to give their, अपना कोई सामान किसी को दे देना. The third word is not going to bear fruit, which means not going to give any favorable result. The third phrase is not going to bear fruit. That means not going to give any favorable result, है ना. So we have done these three phrases. Now I'm going to erase them and write the remaining two phrases of the lesson. Please write these phrases, students, in your English notebook. Now, the fourth one is to say farewell. To say farewell is to say goodbye. जब हम विदा होते हैं, किसी को goodbye करते हैं, that is to say farewell, है ना. And then the last phrase is hopes were raised. Hopes were raised means उम्मीद जग जाना, इसको बोलते हैं ना, to become hopeful again. To say farewell means to say goodbye, है ना. विदा करना. And then hopes were raised to become hopeful again. उम्मीद जग जाना. So students, again I'm going to revise the 5 meanings of the phrases and then I'm going to read the lesson for you. The first phrase is set off, which means started his journey. The second phrase is to part with, that means to give there. The third phrase is not going to bear fruit, that means not going to give any favorable result. The fourth one is to say farewell, that means to say goodbye. And the fifth one is hopes were raised to become hopeful again. है ना? To hopes were raised to become hopeful again means students कि उम्मीद जग जाना, फिर से उम्मीद जग जाना. Fine. So students, now I'm going to start. First of all, I'll read lesson 9, the priceless slippers for you, and then after reading, I'll be starting with the explanation. Students, as I read, please listen to me carefully. Page number 87, the priceless slippers. Now students, before I read the lesson, please ensure that you pay attention to each and every line and please move your fingers so that you also learn to pronounce the correct words. Lesson 9, the priceless slippers. In a little village, there lived a poor man who was so tired of being poor that his sole aim in life was to become rich and have a lot of money. In his desperation, he had tried many means of making money, but he didn't get any satisfactory results. Then one day, someone told him of a great Sufi saint, Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia, who lived in Delhi. The poor man was told that the saint was a very kind man with extremely wealthy followers. Surely he will give me enough money to start a new business, and then I will be a rich man, thought the villager to himself. The very next day, he set off for Delhi, where the Sufi saint stayed. He had to walk all the way as he couldn't afford to travel on a horseback. Tired and hungry, the poor man arrived at the home of the saint at last. The Sufi greeted him kindly, and one of his followers guided him to where he could wash himself and brought him food to eat. After taking some rest, the villager told the Sufi the purpose of his visit. Why is it so important for you to have money? The Sufi asked. The villager recounted his woes. I don't have enough money to even eat or clothe myself. If I have a lot of money, I will never have to worry about these things. I will be happy. You are welcome to stay here for as long as you want. You will never be hungry and will always be decently attired. The Sufi assured him, but the villager was adamant. He wanted money. For him, that was the only solution of his problems. He wanted to continue living in his village, start a business, and live in a comfortable house. The Sufi asked him, "Why did you come to me? I'm not a rich man, but there are many rich men in Delhi from whom you may go and ask for money." The man said that he had thought of that, but knew from experience that the rich were never eager to part with their wealth. I had heard that you never turn your back on anyone, so I came to you. The Sufi slowly nodded his head, but said nothing. He remained busy the rest of the day. There were prayers to be said, visitors to be met, and students to be taught. He continued his normal routine. The villager waited patiently for the Sufi to summon him and give him money or ask one of his wealthy friends to give him some. 2 days passed and he was getting impatient. On the third morning, he realized that his trip to Delhi was not going to bear fruit and it was time for him to leave for his village. He had been taken care of very well. He had not been hungry, nor had he slept so comfortably in a long time. But money was not given to him. Feeling disappointed, he went to say farewell to the Sufi. Are you leaving? But I can't let you go empty-handed. The villager's hopes were raised. The Sufi took off his worn-out slippers and gave them to the villager, saying, You have a long and dusty journey ahead of you. These slippers may be useful. I only own what I wear, so I will give you these with my blessings. The villager was shocked, but did not show his surprise as he respected the saint and did not want to insult him. The world talks of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia, but in reality, he is as poor as me, thought the villager to himself. He then left Delhi with the pair of slippers in his bundle. He was afraid that the people of his village would laugh at him when they would see or hear of the gift that the saint had given him. As the villager was walking in the hot sun, he saw a great cloud of dust coming towards him. As he watched, he saw a magnificent horse galloping towards him. An equally magnificent rider was seated on the horse. The horse and the horseman drew nearer and stopped in front of the villager. The striking horseman got off the horse and pointed to the bundle, said, You lucky man, are you coming from the great saint with a priceless gift? The poor man stammered that it was indeed a gift that the saint had given him, but it was far from priceless. He wondered aloud how the stranger knew that the villager had been to meet the saint. I recognize the sweet fragrance of my Lord from the bundle that you carry. He introduced himself as Amir Khusro. The villager showed him the pair of slippers, and to his surprise, Amir Khusro picked them up reverently and held them to his head. Be kind and give me these slippers for a bag of gold that I have earned for 6 months of work for the emperor. You can also have my horse and my robes. The villager was astounded, but he readily agreed to part with the slippers for the unequal amount. Both men were delighted with their exchange. Each thought that he had gained the greatest treasure. Amir Khusro left for Delhi and the poor villager returned a rich man. Never again in his life did he have to worry about his food or clothing, and he lived happily. Needless to say, he became a devout follower of the Sufi whose humility he could never forget. Later, the poor villager came to know that Amir Khusro was a great musician and poet as well as the most famous disciple of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia. He wrote in Persian, Arabic and Hindi. He is considered to be the inventor of tabla and the Hindi language. He was buried near the tomb of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia in Delhi. About the story, Sayyid Muhammad Nizamuddin Aulia. He was born in 1238, that is 12th century 38, and he passed away in 1325. He was also known as Hazrat Nizamuddin. He was one of the most famous Sufi saints of the Indian subcontinent. He stressed upon love as a means of attaining God, and his love for God implied a love of humanity. Now students, I have read the lesson for you. Now, I'm going to start explaining this lesson. Now, before you read, India is often referred as the land of mystics. बेटा, आप सबको पता है कि हमारी कंट्री जो इंडिया है, यहाँ पे बहुत बड़े बड़े संत और फकीर हुए हैं, है ना? और उनके जो नाम है, उन्होंने जो किया ह्यूमन काइंड के लिए, दैट इज नोन, है ना? लॉट ऑफ सेंट्स एंड जो फकीर हैं, साधु संत फकीर पीर बहुत सारे इंडिया में हुए हैं. हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया वॉज अ सूफी सेंट who lived during the 13th century. एंड जो लेसन हम जिसके बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं, हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया, ये एक बहुत बड़े सूफी सेंट थे, है ना बेटा? सूफी एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी के जो फकीर पीर फकीर होते हैं, है ना? और वो भगवान को अपनी प्रेयर्स के थ्रू भगवान से वो सारी चीजें, मतलब भगवान के दे आर वेरी क्लोज टू देयर प्रेयर, है ना? This story shows his simplicity and austerity of his lifestyle, है ना? अब बेटा, ये हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया बहुत बड़े पीर फकीर थे. इनके बहुत सारे शिष्य थे, बहुत सारे रिच फ्रेंड्स थे, और वो चाहते तो वो बहुत ऐशो आराम की लाइफ जी सकते थे. बट जो बेटा रियल संत होता है, असली का साधु पीर फकीर होता है, वो सारी शान और शौकत ऐशो आराम से दूर, है ना? वो एकदम सिंपल लाइफस्टाइल जीते हैं. एंड हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया वो बहुत साधारण लाइफस्टाइल जीते थे, जबकि वो चाहते तो वो बहुत ऐशो आराम की जिंदगी जी सकते. बट जो असली का साधु होगा, जो असली का पीर फकीर होगा बेटा, वो हमेशा भगवान के रास्ते पे चलेगा और सारी ऐशो आराम और लग्जरी से दूर रहेगा. इट ऑल्सो शोज हाउ पीपल विद डिवाइन नॉलेज कैन गिव विदाउट हैविंग. और बेटा ये बताते हैं कि जो सूफी संत बहुत महान और बहुत पहुंचे हुए साधु पीर फकीर होते हैं, वो उनके पास कुछ भी नहीं होता, लेकिन वो इतने गॉडली होते हैं कि वो आप कुछ भी उनके पास नहीं होता, लेकिन फिर भी उनके आशीर्वाद से आपको सब कुछ मिल सकता है. दिस इज अबाउट दिस लेसन. एंड स्टूडेंट्स, रिगार्डिंग दी स्टोरी, जो सैयद मोहम्मद निजामुद्दीन औलिया, जो ये बहुत बड़े पीर थे, ये 1238 से 1325 13 सेंचुरी में ये थे. एंड ये बहुत फेमस सूफी सेंट थे, है ना, इंडिया के, है ना? और उन्होंने किस पे जोर दिया था? उनका मेन था कि इंसान जो है भगवान को खाली अगर वो दूसरे प्राणियों से प्यार करेगा ना, तो वो भगवान को पा सकता है. कि जो प्यार है वही भगवान को पाने का एक रास्ता है. और उनका जो भगवान के लिए प्यार है, वो उनका ह्यूमैनिटी की, उन्होंने इंसानियत के लिए क्या क्या नहीं किया, ये बताता है. Now I'm going to explain this lesson. Please listen to me. In a little village, there lived a poor man who was so tired of being poor that his sole aim in life was to become rich and have a lot of money. Beta, we are talking about 13th century. अभी 21st century चल रही है, ये हम 13th century की बात कर रहे हैं, है ना? बहुत साल पहले, है ना? There was a poor man, एक बहुत गरीब आदमी था, and he was very poor. And his sole aim, that उसके लाइफ का जो only aim था, that was to become rich and have a lot of money. वो इतना गरीब था कि उसके लाइफ का बस एक ही एम था कि किसी भी तरह मेरे पास मनी आ जाए एंड मैं रिच बन जाऊं, है ना। ही वॉज सो पुअर दैट उसकी लाइफ का बस एक एम था, सोल एम, द ओनली एम, दैट ही वॉन्टेड टू बिकम रिच एंड हैव अ लॉट ऑफ मनी. In his desperation, he had tried many means of making money, but he didn't get any satisfactory result. अब उसकी तो सारी उम्मीद खत्म हो गई थी कि मैं कभी रिच बनूंगा, लेकिन उसने रिच बनने के लिए इतनी सारी कोशिश की थी, लेकिन उसकी सारी कोशिशें बेकार हुई and he couldn't become rich. He was poor only. Then one day someone told him of a great Sufi saint, Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia, who lived in Delhi. फिर एक दिन बेटा उस पुअर विलेजर को किसी ने हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया, जो बहुत बड़े सूफी सेंट थे, उनके बारे में बताया कि देखो एक बहुत बड़े सूफी सेंट है हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया, और वो कहाँ रहते हैं? दिल्ली में. The poor man was told that the saint was a very kind man with extremely wealthy followers. अब उस पुअर मैन को ये भी बताया गया कि जो हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया, जो बहुत बड़े सूफी सेंट है, वो बहुत काइंड, बहुत दयालु हैं, और उनके बहुत सारे जो फॉलोअर्स हैं, जो उनको मानते हैं, वो बहुत वेल्दी. वेल्दी मीन्स दे आर वेरी रिच. और इफ हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया वांट्स, वो तुम्हारी बहुत मदद कर सकते. ही कैन हेल्प यू इन बिकमिंग रिच. Surely he will give me enough money to start a new business and then I will be a rich man, thought the villager to himself. अब जब विलेजर को ये पता चला अबाउट दी सूफी सेंट हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया, तो ही थॉट कि ये जब इतने काइंड मैन हैं, उनके इतने वेल्दी फॉलोअर्स हैं, तो श्योरली वो मेरी मदद करेंगे, है ना. एंड इफ आई मीट हिम, वो मेरी पूरी तरह से मदद करेंगे, और फिर जो मुझे उनसे जो भी मनी मिलेगा, विद दैट मनी आई स्टार्ट अ न्यू बिजनेस. मैं कोई नया बिजनेस स्टार्ट करूंगा, एंड आफ्टर व्हेन आई स्टार्ट माय बिजनेस, आफ्टर दैट आई बिकम अ रिच मैन, है ना. तो ये विलेजर अपने बारे में ही अपने आप में सोच रहा था, है ना. द विलेजर वॉज वेरी पुअर, है ना. ही वॉज सो पुअर दैट उसकी लाइफ का बस एक ही एम था कि ही वॉन्टेड टू बिकम रिच एट एनी कॉस्ट, है ना. कि और उसने पूरी, मतलब उसने इतनी सारी कोशिशें की थी रिच बनने की, बट कोई भी उसको सेटिस्फैक्टरी रिजल्ट नहीं मिला. हाँ, ही रिमेन्ड पुअर ओनली, है ना. देन वन डे somebody told him, एक दिन उसको पता चला किसके बारे में? हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया नाम के एक सूफी सेंट के बारे में पता चला किसी से कि वो दिल्ली में रहते हैं, इज वेरी काइंड मैन, और उनके बहुत सारे रिच वेल्दी फॉलोअर्स हैं. फॉलोअर्स बेटा जो उनको मानते हैं, जो उनको फॉलो करते हैं ना. आपने देखा है कितने साधु संत लोग होते हैं, पीर फकीर होते हैं, कई लोग उनको मानते हैं भगवान के जैसा. तो एंड वो जो फॉलोअर्स हैं अपने गुरु के लिए कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. सो जब विलेजर को पता चला कि हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया नाम के एक सूफी सेंट है जो दिल्ली में रहते हैं, who's got lot of wealthy followers, तो what he thought, विलेजर ने अपने आप में सोचना शुरू किया कि मैं उनके पास, if I meet him, he is very kind, वो मुझे कुछ पैसा देंगे, and with that money I'll start with the business, और जब मैं बिजनेस करूंगा तो मैं रिच बन जाऊंगा. ये वो अपने आप में सोच रहा था, है ना. Who was thinking? The poor villager whose sole aim was to become rich. The very next day he set off for Delhi where the Sufi saint stayed, है ना. अब जब उसको पता चला द सूफी सेंट हजरत निजामुद्दीन औलिया के बारे में, तो उसने अगले ही दिन उसने सोचा कि मैं तो दिल्ली जाऊंगा, एंड ही स्टार्टेड हिज जर्नी. उसने अपनी यात्रा दिल्ली के लिए स्टार्ट कर दी. He had to walk all the way as he could not afford to travel on a horseback. अब बेटा वो इतना पुअर था, है ना. We are talking about 13th century, है ना. Just imagine कितने years back, almost 800 years back की हम बात कर रहे हैं. तब तो बेटा इतने व्हीकल्स वगैरह नहीं होते थे. People used to travel either on foot. जो गरीब लोग थे वो पैदल चलते थे, एंड जो रिच लोग होते थे वो हॉर्स वगैरह रखते थे कि वो हॉर्स पे राइड करते थे. Now this poor villager was so poor that he didn't have a horse, है ना. उसके पास घोड़ा तो था ही नहीं कि वो घोड़े पे बैठ के वो दिल्ली ट्रैवल कर सकता. वो तो इतना गरीब था कि उसको बेटा वॉक करके ही, पैदल चल के ही दिल्ली तक पहुंचना था. वो जिस भी विलेज में रहता था वहां से ही हैड टू वॉक टू रीच दिल्ली, है ना. And why he was going to Delhi? He was going to Delhi to meet the great Sufi saint Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia, because he thought कि अगर वो उनसे मिलेगा, the saint would give him money, and with that money he will start a business and he will become a rich person. That's what the villager was thinking himself, and with this thought he started his journey for Delhi, and he was so poor that he could not afford a horse, so he walked for Delhi to meet the famous Sufi saint Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia. Students, now the rest of the lesson I'll be explaining in my next video. But till then, please write all the 25 word meanings and the 5 meaning of phrases in your English notebook, and read lesson 9, the Priceless Sippers, 2 times at least, so that when I explain and start with the exercise, it will be easier for you to understand. That's all for today. Thank you, children. Good day ahead.